来。小王好刺激哦！你快看，小哥不要讲话了。
Hello, guys.
Hey.
啊，我看什么啊？我还没注意呢。没不说话是吧？嗯，这不是很正常的事吗？
让开。
Okay, hello everyone. So hopefully you can all hear me. If you can't, please pop in the comments that you are having difficulty hearing me, but hopefully you can. So if everybody else could please turn off their microphones, just so that it's only my volume coming through for the moment. Welcome everyone. This is the first time that I've ever done a webinar, so I'm trying to juggle just a little bit, trying to keep up with the chat and also go through a few things with you. So can someone, if you guys can hear me, can someone just pop quickly in the group chat that you can hear me, just so that I know the volume's coming through? Perfect. Thanks everyone. Okay, so I'm just going to start off by playing you a quick video that we've done up. It's available on YouTube. We've just done it up at the end of last week, and it's just a little bit of a guide to the application process. So I'm just going to pause it sort of intermittently and just explain certain parts to you, but it's a pretty comprehensive video. So I'm just going to hit play on that now. Again, I do have the comments open beside me on my phone. So if you're having any problems seeing the video, or if the screen's not working properly, please just shoot through and let me know. Also, if you have any questions as we're going through, please feel free to pop them in there as well, and I'll do my absolute best to keep up with them and answer any questions that you guys have. So obviously we're going to go through the application process today, but it's also a really good opportunity for you guys to have a bit of a chat to me without having to wait for a response to an email. So yeah, like I said, I'm just going to hit play on this video now and we'll see how we go.
First, open a web browser and go to www.anu.edu.au. Select Study and then Apply. Scroll down the page until you see Students applying for exchange. If you know study, please ensure you select the appropriate option. Follow the steps. Open an information page with details on applying for exchange. Please read this information carefully. Scroll to step 4 and select the in-text link Online Application Manager. Before you begin your application, you'll need to register an account. Select Register. Enter your information as prompted.
So I'm just going to pause it very quickly here for a second. So when you guys are registering, you can use basically any email address that you're going to have access to. You know, as long as you're going to have access to any emails and stuff that we send you. It does make it a lot easier on our end if you register using the same email address that you would have been nominated with. So that would be the email address at your home institution. Like I said, you can use any email if it's more convenient to use a Gmail or a Hotmail or something like that. It just makes it a little bit easier on our end just to confirm your nomination if you use your home institution email address. I'll just hit play again on here for you guys.
And then select Register. This will bring you to the beginning of the application form. Read the and when ready, select Exchange/program of study and confirm that your first preference is non-award exchange program. Select Intake to choose your expected year and session. Select the duration of your exchange.
So I'll just pause it here again for a second, guys. We've been getting a lot of emails coming through and a lot of questions about this part of the application, and I understand that it can be really confusing. So when you first do the first step, it will note or look as if you're applying for a 12-month exchange program. But this section here, right at the end where it says, please select the duration of the exchange study abroad program, you'll see that there is a drop-down menu there, and it's to select if you want to do 6 or 12 months. So it's just unfortunately set up a little bit confusingly in our system, but it will look in that first step that you're doing a 12-month exchange, but in this step here you do get to choose which length you want it to be for, and it's only in this step that matters. So as long as, if you're doing a 1 semester, as long as you select the 6 month in this drop down menu that she just mentioned here, that's all you're applying for. So just disregard what it says up a little bit higher at the top of the screen there under the non-award exchange program where it says 12 months. That's just that it's set up in the system in a way that makes it a bit awkward for you guys when you're applying. So apologies for that. And as I said, we have had a lot of people asking about that.
这叫啥？高清点的。
我基本都是50区的。哎，我这怎么回旋闪没出来？有毒啊！
哇，这就是高清。再看看。
Finally, open course selection and enter the course code and course name of the subject you would like to study. You can find available courses on the ANU Programs and Courses website. Please be aware you will only be able to study 4 courses per semester, so please enter them in the order of your courses. When complete, select Save and Continue. On this page, open the section we've done previously and enter your information where prompted and upload your documentation. When complete, select Save and Continue.
帮你选课了。
Declaration and signature and read the
选项目。
information carefully. Indicate your agreement with each paragraph by selecting the tick box at the beginning of each one.
确实没意思，我只是觉得这个伤害有点小低啊。
Choose the date from the drop-down menus and select Save and Continue. Here you can attach any supplementary documents, including your passport, to support
我
your
把它屏蔽了。
它这些怪物都会朝那看起来弱的去打的嘛。
When you have added any extra information, you can select Save and
并不
Continue.
是啊，因为这些都是太强了，不敢去撞啊，你知
We'll
道
send
吗
your？ complete application to ANU for assessment.
电脑不错
You，will not be able to make
好
any
贵呢。
changes.
那
看出来了
13000，
你看看这两个你就知道了。
Save and close.
12000。
Return to it at a later date.
这个应该什么游戏都能打。
这个一波，这个有点难受。哇，我这
我语音没关。
长时间。
Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I'm just having a bit of a read through some of the comments that are coming through at the moment. There is someone that did have their volume on, so yeah, if you could mute, that would be awesome. Is it required to select courses in the same field as your original study? So this will completely depend on your home institution, Jonathan, and it will also depend on which level of courses you're trying to enter. So if you're looking, a lot of our exchange students from the ANU, when they go overseas, a lot of them will look at doing like a minor in something that maybe we don't offer here, and they will often be using their electives. So I suppose when they go overseas, they can kind of do whatever courses they like. And if that's the way that your home institution operates, then that's fantastic. It means that you can do anything that you like here, as long as you meet any prerequisite requirements. So if you're looking at doing something completely obscure, completely different to your degree at home, you just need to make sure you're looking at probably those 1000 level courses, or if you've done sort of basic prerequisites, but we'll go through the course selection process here now as well. And yes, it will, sorry, the video will be saved. What I'll do is I'll email all of the incoming students, which will obviously include you guys. I'll email you the video, the whole webinar session, but I'll also send you the link just to that YouTube bit as well. Where do you have to? So if you're trying to, sorry, I'm just having a bit of a look through these comments. Before giving the actual courses, you were asked to give your preference of program. What happens if the course you choose? Yeah, so basically the program preference that you put in is just that you want to be enrolled at ANU as a exchange student. And most of our courses are worth 4 units of credit. Sorry, the comments are coming through pretty quickly, so I'm just trying to have a bit of a read through them. If the courses that you pick are all from one program, for example, that's fine. Or you can choose courses that are completely varied. So you can choose a course in science, and then you can choose a course in arts, or like commerce or whatever. It's very varied. You can kind of do a little bit of whatever you want. So I'm just give me 2 seconds just to write back to a couple of these comments that are coming through, not to the group, they're just coming through to me privately. And then I'm just going to run through basically how to use programs in courses and basically how it runs. And I think that that's going to answer a few of the questions that are coming through. So just give me 2 seconds, guys. Okay. So this website that you can see on the screen here is the ANU Programs and Courses website. So as you guys are only coming through as exchange students, you're not coming through as full degree seeking students. We just want to have a bit of a search of our individual programs and courses, not necessarily our degrees and majors. So now again in this screen, I'm just going to minimize the chat for just a second. So I do apologize, and I will promise to get back to everyone shortly. So basically here, what you can see is there's a program section, a courses section, and also majors and minors specialization. So what I want you guys to do is just be searching for courses. So you just want to select courses from there. And basically, I'm just going to show you through how to filter courses to make sure that whatever you're searching for really is narrowed down to courses that are suitable for you. So most of you will be undergraduate students, so we're going to select undergraduate, and obviously you're all coming in 2018, so we're going to leave that as it is now. Now, the academic year in Australia is a little bit different to probably what it is for most of the world. So you guys coming in our July commencing semester is actually our second semester. So you want to filter courses by what's available in second semester. And then in terms of the college and mode of delivery, that's not really something that you guys need to look at. So basically that's all we're going to filter it down by. So whether you're an undergraduate or postgraduate student, and also we want courses that are going to be available in second semester 2018. So I'm just going to show results for that search. And you can see here that there's quite a number of courses, obviously, that are coming up. These are all of the courses arranged in alphabetical order of what's available in semester 2. So obviously we want to narrow that down a little bit. So I guess the first thing we can kind of do is let's have a look. What do I want to search? All right, let's have a search for art. And see what kind of art courses there are available. So say, for example, I wanted to do, I'm just trying to find a good example, guys. A lot of these are, so any courses that have ARTV at the front of them, like pretty much all of these ones here do, they're fairly restricted courses. They're courses that are offered in under arts, as in visual arts, and the class sizes with those ones can be quite limited. So I'm just not going to use any of those as an example for the moment. So we'll just go into this course here. So we can see that this course is offered by Here we can see it's offered by the Research School of Computer Sciences, and also that it's offered under the ANU College of Engineering and Computer Sciences, which we would call KEX. That's one of our 7 academic colleges. It also tells you up here what the unit value is. So at ANU, a full-time study load is 24 units, which is equivalent to a standard 4 courses. Sometimes you'll see a unit value as 12 units, and that means that it's just a more intensive course, and that you can therefore take 3 courses if you're taking something that's got a unit value of 12 units. So basically this page is going to tell you everything that you really need to know about this specific subject. Obviously, any kind of course that you would click into would be the same. It gives you a bit of a summary at the top there, and then it kind of covers the learning outcomes there. And then we want to click on the study tab. It's going to tell you basically what the assessment is like, a bit about the workload. So it's saying there's going to be 12 2-hour lectures, all of that kind of stuff. And it's saying here, this requisite and incompatibility section here is basically the most important section for you guys to look at in terms of whether you're going to be able to take these courses. So with this one, for example, it's saying that you cannot take it at the same time as you're taking Comp 6720. And what that means is that it's essentially very similar to a version of the course that's taught in a postgraduate degree. And it just means that you can't do the courses at the same time. So in terms of this course, there's no prerequisite requirements. So if you have never done anything to do with art and interaction in new media, you can do this course because, as I say, it doesn't have any prerequisite areas. It also covers here the areas of interest. So if you're looking at doing sustainable engineering, this could be a good course to do, and all of those kinds of things. You don't really need to look at the major and minor sort of sections there because it's, as I said, you're not a full degree seeking student at ANU. And then we want to have a look at the offerings and fees here as well. So basically in this section, we're only looking at the offerings. And what we want to look at is just to make sure that in 2018, it's going to be offered in 2nd semester. One of the biggest things that our exchange students do, unfortunately, is select courses that they're really passionate about, but that are unfortunately not available for the semester that they're applying for. So just before you submit your application, you really just need to make sure that the courses you're putting in are available. These fees here, obviously, for exchange students, you don't need to worry about individual course fees at all. And for any study abroad students out there, again, you don't need to worry about that because you're charged a flat study abroad rate. It doesn't matter what courses you take under that. So we'll just go back and just refilter that. And I'm just going to show you an example of a course that perhaps does have some prerequisites. So I'll go into this one. Now, again, when you're going in, obviously you want to have a look at the overview. You want to know what the learning outcomes are going to be and all of that sort of stuff. But again, most importantly, we really want to go to this study tab here and have a look at the requisite and incompatibility. So this one's saying that you need to contact the School of Art and Design to request a permission code. Now, what that means is that this course has limited places available and that those places will first go to degree-seeking students from ANU. That doesn't mean that you can't nominate this course because you absolutely can. It just means that your chances of being accepted into that course may just be a little bit reduced. So again, let's go back and have another look. Let's search for science courses this time. We're just, again, going to filter by undergraduate, 2nd semester and show those results. Okay. That's not bringing up good courses. Okay. Let's have a look at this international terrorism course. So again, just a little bit of a shortcut down here. You can go to the requisite and incompatibility section very specifically here, and that's going to take you there. So this one says that you need to enroll in this course, you must have completed 12 units of ANU 1000 level political science courses, or 6 units of political science and 6 units of sociology or criminology. So basically what that means, if you guys want to nominate that you want to do this course specifically, what you'll need to do is you would need to provide evidence that you have completed an equivalent of 2 courses at your home institution in political science or political science and criminology. So that's just a bit of an idea of what you should be looking for in programs and courses, and a bit of a tip on how to use it. So what I might do, that's really the main sort of things that I wanted to cover with you guys in terms of submitting your applications. I guess the other main thing is just to let you guys know that really once you hit that submit button, you can't change anything, and there's absolutely no rush in getting your application in. So as long as it's in by that 1st of April deadline, I would much prefer if you sort of start your application, and if you're missing any documentation, just wait and then submit your application with everything attached, rather than submitting it and then me having to contact you for additional information later. Having said that though, if you think you do have everything that you need attached and you've missed something, it's absolutely not a problem at all. So I've just opened up my comments window again, so I'm just going to scroll back up to where I was before and just sort of slowly start working through some of these questions that are coming in. I strongly recommend everyone stick around, because again, we're getting a lot of emails that have a very common theme. People are asking very similar questions, and this is a really good format to be able to answer those questions for you guys. But that is the main sort of stuff that I wanted to show you, how to submit your application and how to have a look at the course selections as well. So if you do need to go, if it's 4 o'clock in the morning where you are, or midnight, and you really want to go back to bed, please feel free to do so. So I'm just going to have a bit of a look back through. So Rachel, you were asking how much our points are. So I think I answered that in saying that each of our courses are usually worth what we call 6 units, and each semester a full-time study load is 24 units, so usually made up of 4 courses. So hopefully that answered your question. And Lena, I think I answered your question as well. So hopefully, if not, please pop another comment in there so that I can readdress it. I've got a question. What is the title in the personal details part? In Australia, we have what we call like a title or a prefix to our names. So it would be like a Mr. or a Mrs., sort of depending on gender and all of that sort of stuff. It's a little bit sort of old-fashioned, I suppose, and it shouldn't be a required field. So you should be able to skip that part if you're not really sure about what that means. So Jerry's, I apologize in advance if I'm pronouncing anyone's names incorrectly as well. I'm really just going to be pronouncing them as an Australian would, so apologies in advance. But Jerry, so you've said regarding the course, where can we find the complete syllabus in PDF? That's a really good question. Let me just have a bit of a look here and just see if it's available anywhere here on programs and courses for you. I would say that if you do need the actual course outlines, you might actually need to email our office and request that, because I don't think that they're on here. Yeah, they're not on here. So yeah, if you do require, what you can do is you can either contact the academic colleges directly. So again, for example, this course here, we can see here that it's offered by the ANU College of Arts and Social Sciences. So if you Google ANU College of Arts and Social Sciences, you will find like a contact page for them. Otherwise, that is something that we're more than happy to help you with in the lead up to your time at ANU. So if you do need those for your home institution, please feel free to send an email to inbound.global@anu.edu.au and I can look into those for you. Actually, that's kind of a very good segue as well to something else that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and that's just that when you're doing your course selections, it really is important to do the research and be pretty confident in what courses you want to select before you submit your application. The reason that I'm saying that is that you get to choose 6 courses where you only need 4. And what we do is we will seek permission codes for you for those courses. We'll send them to you, and that means that you can enroll and be ready to go before you arrive at ANU. When you get here, after the sort of orientation week starts in mid-July, the colleges actually won't talk to us anymore in regards to your permission codes. They want you to go and speak to them in person if you're wanting to change what you're doing. To give you a bit of an idea, in orientation week, people line up for 3 hours sometimes waiting to speak to someone about course selections. So that's why it's really important that you kind of do that research and that we work with you to get it right before you get here, because it just saves you a lot of time once you're here as well. So Jerry, I hope that answers your question. Let me see who's next. Laura. So Laura, you have asked where you can find a schedule of each course, just to make sure the schedule doesn't collide. Okay, so unfortunately the timetabling for semester 2 hasn't been done yet, and what that means is that we don't have a schedule, but basically for each course there'll be a lecture. Each course will have lectures that you need to participate in. However, all of ANU's lectures are recorded and then available online. And every course will have a tutorial as well. Tutorials must be attended in person, but they will also usually be 3, if not 4 tutorials scheduled for each course every week. So it gives you a little bit of room to play around with your schedule and hopefully find courses that don't overlap. So like I said, you don't need to attend the lectures in person, and there'll be multiple options of tutorials available. So hopefully that helps. The timetabling will be released sort of like fairly soon. But yeah, unfortunately, that's a good question. But yeah, unfortunately, that's the only sort of part of the course selections that we can't really do that far in advance. So I've got another question about acceptance fees. So yes, the acceptance fee for all exchange students is the same. The only difference is if you would like to organise your overseas health cover on your own, then you actually don't pay any acceptance fee at all to us. So the fee that you pay to us is only for your overseas health cover or OSHC policy, and that's because we create that for you at the time of acceptance if you have chosen for us to do that for you. And it will be the same. So for students that are coming for a single semester, that fee is $330, and for students that are coming for 2 semesters, it's $717, and that's obviously the same for all exchange students. Nicholas was asking about our winter courses. That's a very good question, Nicholas. If you have a winter course that you would like to participate in, can you please send me an email to inbound.global@anu.edu.au, just because it is really on a case-by-case basis, and they're not typically available to exchange students, but we are definitely more than happy to look into that for you. I should also say, and in answer to a question that was asked privately, when you're studying at ANU for 2 semesters, it does allow you to submit your course preferences for both of the semesters. However, you only need to submit for your first semester. And in fact, we prefer it if you only submit it for your first semester that you're going to be at ANU, because once you're here, once you're taking courses, you'll be making connections to academics. You'll have a good relationship with the academic colleges, and in that sense, it's better to then select your second semester worth of courses once you're here and you kind of maybe know what you want to do in that second semester. And it's just a little bit of a different process in terms of getting those permission codes and stuff as well. Okay, so Rachel was asking, how do we prove that? Do we get our lecturer from last year to show that we did the equal requirements? So I'm guessing that's just in regards to the prerequisites. Sorry, I wasn't able to read the comments as I was going. I'm really bad at multitasking. So yes, you just need course selections, you need course outlines from courses that you have done before that you feel meet those prerequisites. If you can't get a hold of course outlines, you can still submit your application. Just let us know that you couldn't get the course outlines and we can do an assessment on it. It could be that the academic college will look at your transcript and recognise the courses that you've done and be okay to approve that without the course outlines, but it's just much easier for us to ask for those up front. Okay, cool. I answered someone's question. That's always good to know. So it's just a question in regards to taking less than 4 courses. And this is also a really common question. So yes, you are absolutely allowed to take less than 4 courses while you're here at ANU. Now, the stipulations with regards to this is that you must be enrolled in 18 units to be counted as a full-time student in regards to your student visa restrictions. So what that means is usually that you need to take 3 courses, which will equal to the 18 units. And in order to do that, you just need a letter from your home institution approving that you can take less than what is a full-time load, and we have a form that you need to fill in, but as long as your home institution is okay with it, we would have no problems approving it. We just need that evidence. So hopefully, George, that answers your question. Okay, term selection is blank for some courses. Okay, Tessa. All right, thanks for pointing that out. What I might do is I might actually just quickly take note of that one and have a bit of a look into that one. What it could be is either it means that the course is either been discontinued and they're not doing the child language acquisitions course anymore. It could mean that they haven't confirmed a tutor or a professor for that course yet, so they're not quite confirming it, or it could just be a glitch on our end. So Tessa, I will write that down. Just give me 2 seconds while I write that one down. Tessa. And I'll look into that and shoot you an email, Tessa, just to let you know what's going on with that one. Okay. Okay, so Frankie, you've asked a good question here. So what is counted as an English proficiency document? So in the application instructions that I sent out to you guys, there is a link to our English language policy, and it is quite it's quite detailed because we do accept English proficiency in a number of different ways. So basically, in terms of documentation, we would be looking for like an official IELTS or TOEFL or Cambridge English test. We would be looking for the official sort of test results for one of those. We could also be looking for a transcript that shows that you've been studying in English for 2 years. We could be looking for a letter from your home institution saying that it's not an English-speaking country, but the institution teaches in English. We could be looking for a common European framework. I can't remember what it's called, the CHEFA We could be looking for one of those signed by your home institution to say that you meet the English requirements. So there's really a number of different ways that we can accept that. And the other one, I guess, is if you are a citizen of what we call a Group A country, you would meet English by providing your passport, and your transcripts would therefore show that you meet that requirement. We don't need your A-levels or your IB grades. That is equivalent to a Year 12 qualification in Australia. But unless you are using it to meet our English requirements, which would be very rare cases, we don't need those. We just need your home institution transcript. And then Frankie's last question here is, what's the difference between a 1,000, 2,000 and 3,000 course? That is a good question, and I only just learnt the difference between these. So basically a 1,000 level course is what a first year student would be expected to take. A 2,000 level course would be for a second year, and a 3,000 level course would be for a third year. And that's sort of where those prerequisite requirements come into it. And that's why I'm saying, if you're looking at doing something sort of outside of your regular degree, you'd really be looking at those sort of 1,000 level courses, because you wouldn't necessarily have met the prerequisites to go into the second year of studying that. And in terms of, sorry, Frankie, I missed your question about when you should get to Canberra. What day do you recommend that we get to Canberra? So we will be having a compulsory meet and greet session. So let me just have a quick look at my calendar just to confirm the date of that, because I cannot remember off the top of my head. So the meet and greet session will be on, I believe, the 15th of July. So basically it will be the Sunday before orientation week, and I believe orientation week is the 16th to the 20th of July. So the meet and greet session that we host for you guys would be on the 15th, but we will get in touch with you guys to confirm that as well. Okay, I've got another question in here about the document that you need to provide to say you've done the equal requirement for a course. Someone did answer that, ask that a little bit earlier, so hopefully I've answered that question. If I haven't, just let me know again. I just don't want to get too repetitive, so I'll just skip that one for now. For the stage of study at home institution. Look, probably for the stage of study at the home institution, I would say just put what you're currently at. And that's not really a super important kind of question. That's just for information on our end, really. Does Australian visa include ETAS for travelling? I actually don't know. That's a very good question. Let me sort of just jump off to the side here and try and Google that while I'm answering some other questions. So I will come back to that question about an ETAS, sorry. If you're confident that your 4 subjects will cross-credit and work, do we have to select 6? Look, if you're confident that your 4 subjects that you're going to pick are going to be approved, you've met all the prerequisite requirements, your home institution is happy with those, look, you don't have to select 6 subjects. It just means that if for any reason any of those 4 that you've selected aren't approved, it might just mean that there's a little bit more back and forth. But if you're really confident, then no, you don't have to select 6. You can just select those 4. Oh, thanks, Jerry. I will be interested to meet you and see how I should pronounce your name. Thank you. Okay, so there's a very good question here that's been asked privately about meeting the English language requirements. I should first point out that if you're studying law, you do need to meet a higher English requirement, and that is applicable even if you are only selecting one course that falls under the ANU College of Law. If you are studying any courses with the ANU College of Law, you must meet their English language requirement. So just make sure that you have a bit of a look into that if you are a law student. And unfortunately, our English language requirements are very strict. So if you have not met the absolute minimum requirement that's listed on our website, you will need to schedule to do a follow-up English proficiency exam. Unfortunately, we won't be able to accept anything that does not meet the requirements. It's okay if you won't get the results before the 1st of April. You can send them in after that. You just need to make sure that your application is submitted by the 1st of April and that we have everything else that we need. We won't be able to give you an offer until we've got those final English language results. And it's worth keeping in mind that the acceptance deadline is the 18th of May. So what we're saying is if you can submit your application and you've provided absolutely everything else that we need and you're just waiting for results of an English language test, we can give you up until the 1st of May at the latest to provide those results. So hopefully that answers some questions. We've had quite a few students asking about that. Okay, Alex, very good question about the exchange program for law students. That is a course for ANU students to enroll in when they are a law student that is going out on exchange. So unfortunately, no, you'll need to select the courses normally. To the best of my knowledge. If I'm wrong on that one, I will look into it, but I'm pretty sure that's what we call a holding program for our ANU law students when they go out on exchange to make sure that it looks like they're still enrolled here. Rachel, yeah, okay, so yeah, being from New Zealand, probably the only person on here that's ahead of time from us. Yes, you just need to provide your passport and your transcript because you're from a Group A country, so that's no problem at all. You will meet our English requirements. And when you submit your application, if there's anything that doesn't match up in there, then I will make sure to let you know. So I've just got a couple of questions in here that have been answered, that have been asked privately. So I'm not going to read them out. I don't know if people have maybe just hit the wrong thing or if they want to sort of have a private conversation about those ones. If you've asked me a question privately, I will come back to you at the end. I promise. I'm just going to go through and answer these group questions first. Okay, Frank is asking, unfortunately, you are not able to overload. So 24 units of credit is the maximum that an exchange student can do. If you want to overload, you can request permission from the academic college to do so. However, it is exceptionally rare for an exchange student to be approved for overloading. Hang on a second. Basically, the way that ANU students are approved for overloading is by their GPA, so proving that they are academically able to overload. And because exchange students are only here for a single semester, it's really hard for you guys to prove that you can do that overloading. So apologies, Frank, but yeah, unfortunately, usually you can only do 4 courses or the equivalent of 24 units of credit. The link for English proficiency. Okay, let me just look that up and I'll post the link in the comments. Okay, Frankie, I've just posted the link there to the ANU English policy for you. Just trying to go back and find my place now. Sorry, guys. Oh, good question. Okay, Nicholas has asked about the documents that you guys provide to show that you've met the prerequisites for courses. They do need to be officially translated or provided in English directly from your institution. Yeah, basically what I mean by that is we can't have a document in your home language that you have translated, but if your home institution has provided a translated copy, then we're absolutely fine to select accept that. So Nicholas, I hope that answers your question. If not, please let me know and I'll come back to that one for sure. Okay, so Alex is asking about English for Law courses again. 2 full years of law university courses taught in English enough to meet the requirements? Yes, they should be. When you provide your certificate from your home university stating that it's taught in English, can you just make sure that it does sort of clearly state, or I guess we can use your transcript in conjunction with that letter. But Alex, yes, in answer to your question, that should be absolutely fine. Okay. Okay, good question. So Clara is asking about accommodation. Is there anything sort of specific that you need to think about when you're selecting where you want to list as like your first preference, I suppose? I used to work in accommodation, actually. I used to work at Burton and Garran Hall, which is a lovely place, but they all are. So basically, the best thing to have a think about is the way that I used to break it down for people is have a think about the cost. So a lot of people will go straight for uncatered or self-catered accommodation because obviously it's cheaper. But what you need to think about when you do that is also the cost that you're going to have in terms of cooking for yourself. So think about the cost of groceries, the cost of buying pots and pans, and also the time cost involved in preparing your own meals. If you haven't lived away from home before, make sure that you think about that in terms of cooking for yourself as well. And then beyond that, you want to think about cost, you want to think about catering, and then the other thing would be to have a think about where on campus you are likely to be situated in terms of your classes, and then maybe select an accommodation that's close by to that. Those would be my only things. What I like to say to everybody is if you were blindfolded and taken and put in a room, you wouldn't know which accommodation it was in. They really all are very similar. So it's really just going to be the cost, whether you want a catered place or a non-catered place, and then probably what's sort of closer to where your academic courses are going to take place. I hope that answers your question. I would definitely recommend on-campus accommodation. If you're looking at staying off campus, my strong recommendation would be to have a really, really good look at Google Maps or whatever online map system you're able to use, and select something that is close to campus and that's going to be easy to get to with public transport. Though that would probably be my other tip for you. Okay, yep, so the next question is about accommodation as well. That's convenient. So yes, if you are an undergraduate student coming in to study exchange with us, and you get your application in by the deadline, you will be guaranteed accommodation, but you take responsibility for that. to a certain extent. So you need to submit an application for accommodation, and there are obviously costs involved in the accommodation itself. So basically, I'm here to look after you guys as best as I can, and what I'm going to do, as soon as accommodation applications open, I'm going to send you guys an email to let you know, to make sure that you know that they're open. There's no application fee involved with ANU accommodation, so if you're sort of at that point not sure if you want to live on campus or off campus, submit an application anyway, because you can just not accept your offer later, but you won't be able to apply later. So just keep that in mind as well. And then in the application instructions that I sent you guys, I did include some information on accommodation. The costs are varied depending on which accommodation you go into, so it can be very different. But what I'll do is I'm just going to share the link to the ANU accommodation homepage. You guys can have a bit of an explore around there and sort of see what accommodation you might like. So I'm just going to pop that in the comments here for you guys. If I can work this computer. Sorry, I'm using a Windows computer and I usually use a Mac computer, so I'm just pressing the wrong buttons. Okay, so there's a link for the ANU accommodation website for you as well. Okay, so you guys, someone's asking a question. Yeah, of course. If your school year ends in mid or end of July, can you come after the compulsory meet and greet? The answer is yes, you can. If at all possible, we strongly recommend coming to that meet and greet session. It's a lot of fun, and it's a really good opportunity to meet other exchange students and also get some really important information from us. This semester, for the first time, I actually organised the Canberra Reptile Zoo to come over, and they did a reptile safety talk for the exchange students, but they also brought some stuff with them. So they brought like blue-tongued lizards and like goannas and snakes and like a baby crocodile and stuff. So we do some really cool stuff, and you know, I strongly recommend that you come for that session. But if you're absolutely not able to come, then we will ensure that you get all of that compulsory information that was given in that session. And obviously, if you're needing to attend classes at home, then you need to do that. You would just need to make sure that you get to ANU before week 1 at the absolute latest to start attending classes. So hopefully that answers your question. And Frankie is asking about visa applications. So basically you'll do your visa application after you get what we call a confirmation of enrolment, or a COE. So basically what the process is now you will make your application to come and study here. We will assess your application and send you a letter of offer. You will then accept that letter of offer by returning your ANU offer acceptance documents. And then once we've received your acceptance documents, we produce the COE for you. That's produced through a shared service with the Department of Education and the Department of Home Affairs in Australia. And that's what you need when you're applying for a student visa. So it's an official document that shows that ANU has enrolled you as a student with us, and therefore making you eligible for a student visa application. So don't think that you're doing anything wrong by not doing that yet, because it's just not quite time for that step yet. But we are also limited in the advice that we can offer you guys for the visa application process as well. But I can confirm definitely you don't do that until you get that confirmation of enrollment. So Rachel is just asking if we aren't going in a hall, do we just skip that step? Yeah. So, I mean, in the application instructions, one of the steps is making that accommodation application. If you're not going to stay on campus, that is absolutely fine. I would probably just make sure that you use that step just as a reminder to make sure that you do organise your accommodation well in advance from coming. We had a few girls at the beginning of this year who were organising their accommodation when they got here, and I think that they ended up getting a little bit stressed sort of coming up to that beginning of semester because they were having a little bit of difficulty. Just something to keep in mind, Rachel, in regards to that, in Australia or in Canberra specifically, it's actually the law that you must physically see the place that you're hoping to rent before you're able to sign a lease. So if you're going into a share house, obviously that's going to be a little bit different. But if you are hoping to maybe put a group of people together that are coming on exchange and actually lease a house or a unit from a real estate agency, you must, by law and legislation, you must view that premises before you can legally sign a lease or anything like that. So just keep that in mind. Just a little tip for you, because I worked in property management, which is looking after rental properties for a little while. Seems like another lifetime ago. So Tobias is asking how to send additional documents. So that is a process that you can do once you've submitted your application through what we call our application portal. Once you've submitted through there, you can actually log back in and go into your application and upload further documentation. It won't amend your application, but it will allow you to upload additional documentation. So you can do that. Or again, you can just send us an email to that inbound.global@anu.edu.au with any attached further documents. You're more than welcome to do that as well. So hopefully, Tobias, that answers your question. So just a question about submitting applications earlier. I mean, the earlier you submit your application, the earlier we're going to assess it, the earlier you get your offer, and therefore the earlier you can accept it. I guess the earlier you do step one, each of the following steps are going to come that little bit earlier. And what that means in a cumulative sense is that you'll get your COE sooner and be able to lodge your student visa application earlier as well. So hopefully that helps too. How can I contact the course convener for confirming course prerequisites? So again, I'll just take my page here back to this. So we can see here on this course particularly, it's offered by the ANU College of Arts and Social Sciences, and the course convener, sorry, let me just minimize that, is Dr. Michael Zuckerlin. So basically what you would do is you would Google ANU College of Arts and Social Sciences. They will have a contact page, and on that contact page there'll be an undergraduate email address that you can send to. You can send it to there, you can attention that course convener, and you can just in the email explain that you're asking for sort of further confirmation on that. So hang on a second, I just lost my chat window, bringing that back up again. All right, hopefully that answers that. So Lena or Lena, do you know if catered accommodation has options for vegan? So someone did email me actually asking about vegan options. I don't know if that was you, apologies if it was. Basically, in terms of dietary requirements in accommodation, they will cater for dietary requirements, but I can't tell you with what variety they will cater for those dietary requirements. So probably the best thing to do, I'll bring you back to, I'll bring you back to this ANU accommodation webpage. So on this web page, there should be an option to contact them. Yeah, so if you just go basically into any of those pages there, on the ANU accommodation webpage, you'll see that there's this button here to send them an email. I will pop that email address into the chat window for you as well. You can send them an email and just ask them. They're definitely going to know more about that than I will. As I said, I did work in accommodation previously, but I didn't work in one of the catered halls. So I'm just sending you their email address there. Hopefully that helps. Scanned copy of notification of sponsorship form. You won't need to fill that form in. Sorry, Rachel was just asking about the scanned notification of sponsorship form. I'm not sure where it asked you for that, Rachel, but yeah, you won't need to fill that in because presumably you're an exchange student. Most of you guys are exchange students. Oh, okay, it's on the first page. Yeah, I don't know why it's mentioning that so generically. It's a form that we use only in very specific cases. So it could be being used as an example, or it could be that it is outdated, that it's there. So apologies for any confusion with that one, but yeah, you definitely don't need to fill that form in. That's only for students that are being sponsored by like either their government or their home institution, to come and study here for an extended period of time. So hopefully that helps. Is there anywhere we can see menus for catered halls? Frankie, unfortunately, they don't provide a menu, and it's because the menu is so varied. They try and change up what they serve so that students kind of get a bit of a variety. I think they kind of have their menu on like a fortnightly or even like a monthly rotating basis. And even then it still sort of changes a little bit. So yeah, I don't think that you'll find a menu, unfortunately. But I have eaten at the accommodations before, and the food is good, and they do, like I said, provide a really good variety. So apologies, I couldn't answer that any more clearly for you. All right, Nicholas. Yep, I look forward to hearing from you later, Nicholas. Just shoot me an email. I'll be absolutely more than happy to help you. And I've got Frank asking, I'm just wondering if there are numbers of second term courses or advanced course based on. Frank, I'm not sure if I understand your question, to be honest. Our advanced course. Yeah, Frank, I'm sorry, but I'm not really sure if I understand your question. So if you wanted to just shoot me an email to inbound.global@anu.edu.au, just with your sort of like maybe an example of a course that you're maybe seeing, then I'd be absolutely more than happy to help you. Otherwise, we're just kind of looking again at those 1,000 or 2,000 level courses. And with the 2,000 level courses, it would mean that that sort of first term course would be the prerequisite. But again, as long as you've studied something similar that would meet similar learning outcomes to whatever those prerequisite courses are, then again, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. If that didn't answer your question, Frank, I do apologize. And like I said, just shoot me an email. Okay, sorry, Tobias, very good question. Accommodation is only available to enrolled ANU students. So if you end up doing an internship after your exchange semester, no, unfortunately, you won't get access to the ANU accommodation. With the student visa, unfortunately, I really wouldn't be able to provide you much advice on that. You would have to probably talk to either a representative from the embassy in your home country, the Australian embassy in your home country, or to a migration agent. Unfortunately, I really don't know the answer to that question, Tobias. I'm really sorry. What I might do is I might just actually end sort of the question. We've kind of gone about 5 minutes over, which for me it's fine. It's only 4:30 in the afternoon, but for some of you guys, I think you might want to be sort of starting to head off and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back through and answer through writing any private questions. I will... Again, this is my first time doing one of these, so I'm not actually 100% sure if I end the session, if it's going to clear this chat window. So I'm going to try and take note of these private questions before I do that, just in case. But thank you everyone so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. It was really nice to have so many of you on here. You were really engaged, asking lots of questions, which is always a really, really wonderful sign. Again, thank you all so much. I hope that you found it useful. I'm brand new in this job. You guys, the students that are here now are my first cohort, but you guys are going to be my first full cohort of exchange students. So I am always more than happy for any comments or feedback that you guys have. And I'm hoping to do more fun stuff like this that really lets you guys ask some questions and have some sort of one-on-one time with me where I can help with this rather than you having to wait for responses to emails and stuff like that. So again, thank you so much for coming. If you asked a question and you really don't think I answered it, please let me know. Send me an email. I'm here. If you're not already in the Facebook group, if you're able to join it, I strongly recommend that you do that. Otherwise, yeah, thanks again for coming, and I'm just noting down these sort of private questions before I end the session officially, but thank you again, and I'll talk to you all again very soon.